is immense power in the quiet thoughts you repeat to yourself. You may not see them, but these thoughts shape your world. Like seeds planted in the soil, your inner words grow into experiences, into love, into healing, into miracles. Today, I invite you to try something simple yet transformative. Just say this in your head for a while and wait for what happens. You calm the chaos when you choose a new thought. That's where it all begins, not in the outer world, but in your inner space. Chaos doesn't only exist in loud arguments or unpredictable life events. Often, the loudest chaos is the quietest. The silent storm in your mind, the racing heart that no one sees, the knot in your stomach when you're trying to appear fine. In those moments, what you think to yourself becomes the anchor or the wave. And when you say to yourself, "Everything is always working out for me," you're no longer feeding the fear. You're calming the vibration that attracts more problems. Our minds are wired to solve problems, to anticipate danger, to replay what went wrong and obsess over what might go wrong next. That's how we've survived for generations. But survival is not the same as living. You didn't come here just to survive chaos. You came here to find peace, to live joyfully, to heal, and to grow. And that begins with interrupting the old thought patterns. It begins with choosing a new idea, even if your circumstances haven't changed yet. That's the essence of faith, choosing a better thought before the evidence appears. When you repeat, "Everything is always working out for me," you are calming the fearful mind. You're not pretending everything is perfect. You're simply opening to the idea that it can be. You're offering yourself comfort, not from denial, but from a deeper knowing that life responds to belief, not panic. The moment you shift your thoughts, your nervous system listens. Your breath softens, your body loosens. Your energy becomes clearer. And as your inner world softens, the outer world begins to respond. You calm the chaos by refusing to engage with every fearful thought. You don't need to believe every doubt that enters your mind. Thoughts come and go, but you get to choose which ones you give power to. Most of the chaos we feel is not from what's actually happening. It's from the story we tell ourselves about what's happening. It's from the imaginary disasters that haven't occurred. It's from blaming ourselves, replaying the past, or fearing the future. But right now, in this moment, you can choose peace. You can choose to say, even if I don't see the solution yet, it's already forming. Even if I feel afraid, life is still working in my favor. It may feel strange at first. Your logical mind may push back. It may tell you to be realistic, to focus on the facts, to prepare for the worst. But your soul knows another truth. You are not just a body reacting to life. You are a powerful creator shaping life through your vibration. And when you shift that vibration from fear to calm, even slightly, you stop feeding the storm. You become still. And in that stillness, clarity is born. You calm the chaos when you stop trying to control everything. So much of our anxiety comes from the illusion that we have to fix it all, hold it all, do it all. But you were never meant to carry that weight. There is a power in you and around you that knows how to guide you. You're not alone in this life. The moment you say, "Everything is always working out for me," you're not just saying it to yourself. You're saying it to the universe. You're declaring your willingness to trust the path. You're inviting unseen forces to support you, align you, and reveal the next step. Some days will still be hard. Some moments will test you. But you'll have a new compass. You'll know that chaos doesn't mean failure. It means growth. It means clearing. It means change is on its way. You'll understand that peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of perspective. And when you carry that perspective inside you, you become the calm in the storm. You become the one who breathes when others panic, who trusts when others fear, who radiates light in a world that often forgets its power. So say it again in your heart, softly, lovingly. Everything is always working out for me. And even if you don't see the proof yet, something within you shifts. You begin to relax. You begin to glow. You begin to remember that you are not the chaos. You are the calm. And that changes everything. You train the mind to expect good by choosing to see life through a new lens. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen just because you want it to. It happens because you decide again and again that you're worthy of good things and that good things are possible for you. It's a conscious practice, one that requires love, patience, and repetition. Your mind has been conditioned by past experiences, old wounds, societal fears, and inherited beliefs. If you've spent years expecting disappointment, betrayal, or struggle, it's not your fault. But now you have the power to shift it. You have the power to give your mind a new direction, one that leads to joy, healing, and fulfillment. When you say to yourself, everything is always working out for me, you're not just offering comfort. You're rewriting an entire pattern. You're telling your brain, look for good. Expect things to go well. Anticipate blessings. And your brain, being the faithful servant that it is, will obey. It will begin to notice the opportunities, the solutions, the gentle nudges from the universe that were always there, but hidden behind the fog of fear and doubt. You don't have to fight the old thoughts. You don't have to argue with them. You simply start introducing a new truth, and you allow it to grow. Think about a child learning something new. You don't expect them to be perfect right away. You guide them gently with encouragement and repetition. That's exactly how you must treat your mind. If you've spent years bracing for the worst, it will take time to lean into the best. But each time you repeat the thought, everything is always working out for me, you're planting a seed of trust. And that seed, if nourished, will begin to grow roots. The world often teaches us to be suspicious of good news. We're taught to not get our hopes up, to prepare for the worst, to be realistic. But those ideas keep us small. They keep us in survival mode. And life is not meant to be just survived. It's meant to be experienced with hope, wonder, and faith. You train your mind to expect good by deliberately feeding it with the vibration of joy, gratitude, and possibility. You celebrate small wins. You affirm your worthiness. You gently turn away from thoughts of fear and return to thoughts of faith. Expectation is powerful. What you expect becomes what you prepare for. And what you prepare for becomes what you attract. When you expect rejection, you walk into rooms guarded. When you expect delays, you prepare to be disappointed. But when you expect something good, you soften. You smile more. You become open and receptive. And from that space, life has room to flow to you in beautiful and surprising ways. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about refusing to give your power away to fear. When something doesn't go as planned, you remind yourself, this is a redirection, not a punishment. Something better is unfolding. That shift in thinking allows you to stay aligned with hope instead of falling into despair. And your mind begins to learn. Even when things fall apart, something good is still possible. It takes courage to expect good in a world that glorifies stress and struggle. It takes spiritual maturity to believe that life is for you, not against you. But that belief changes everything. It changes how you wake up in the morning. It changes how you treat others. It changes how you speak to yourself. And little by little, your outer world begins to mirror your inner shift. So don't worry if the old thoughts still show up. They're just echoes. You don't need to fight them. You just need to keep choosing better ones. Say it again and again, as if you're soothing a scared child. Everything is always working out for me. Say it until your nervous system relaxes. Say it until your breath deepens. Say it until it feels real, because eventually it will be. The more you say it, the more your subconscious begins to believe it. And once belief is in place, miracles begin to happen. Not because you forced them, but because you expected them. You are worthy of a life filled with peace, joy, abundance, and healing. And when you train your mind to expect those things, you align with them. You attract them. You walk through life as someone who trusts, not someone who fears. And that trust makes room for grace, synchronicity, and blessings you never saw coming. So every day, make it your practice. When doubt arises, return to this thought. When fear whispers, return to this truth. Everything is always working out for me. Repeat it, believe it, expect it. And then, with a calm and open heart, wait for what happens. Because good things are not just possible. They're already on their way to you. You align with universal flow the moment you stop resisting what is and start trusting what can be. Life has a rhythm, a current, a divine intelligence that moves everything in perfect timing. Trees don't rush to bloom, rivers don't force their direction, and the sun never forgets to rise. Yet we, with all our fears and doubts, often try to control every detail. We push, we panic, we hold on too tightly. But the magic begins when we let go. When you say to yourself, everything is always working out for me, you are surrendering to that higher rhythm. You're stepping back from control and stepping into trust. There is peace in surrender. Not the kind of surrender that means giving up, but the kind that says, I trust the process even when I can't see the path. This is how alignment begins. It begins not when life is perfect, but when your inner world softens enough to allow the flow of life to carry you. You stop swimming upstream. You stop trying to force things into place. Instead, you start listening. You start noticing the gentle guidance that's always been there. Alignment is not something you achieve once and then forget. It's a daily practice. It's how you choose to think, how you choose to speak, how you choose to respond. When you are aligned with the universal flow, things begin to move more easily. You don't chase, you attract. You don't beg. You receive, you don't fear trust. And this doesn't mean that challenges disappear, but it means you meet them with a new kind of power, a quiet confidence that says, even this is working out for me. There is wisdom in timing. Sometimes delays are divine protection. Sometimes unanswered prayers are answered prayers in disguise. But you can only see that when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. When you begin repeating the thought, everything is always working out for me, you begin shifting your frequency. You're no longer operating from panic or neediness. You're rooted in faith. You're sending a message to the universe that says, why trust you? I believe in your timing. I am open to receive. That openness is what allows miracles to enter. When your energy is tense, fearful, and rigid, you close the door. But when your energy is relaxed, trusting, and open, you unlock the door to synchronicity. Things begin to show up in ways you didn't expect. People come into your life at the right moment. Opportunities appear. Solutions arrive without force. This is not luck, it's alignment. Your emotions are powerful indicators. When you feel anxious or tense, it's often a sign that you're out of alignment. You're trying to control something that isn't yours to carry. But when you feel calm, even without knowing all the answers, that's alignment. That's trust. That's flow. So your work is not to control everything, but to soothe your energy, to shift your focus, to return to the thought that heals. Everything is always working out for me. Imagine standing in a river. You can fight the current and exhaust yourself, or you can relax and let it carry you forward. Life is that river. It's always moving you toward your highest good. But you have to trust it. You have to stop looking back, stop overthinking, and allow yourself to be guided. That's We's lives. That's where peace begins. Alignment also means being true to yourself. You can't flow with life if you're pretending to be someone you're not. When you honor your truth, your boundaries, your desires, you step into harmony with the greater plan. The universe responds to authenticity. When you act from your heart, even if it scares you, you create space for life to support you in ways you never imagined. This doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. Of course you will. But the moment you remember to realign, to come back to center, you're back in flow. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing. Willing to believe that things are unfolding for your highest good. Willing to believe that delays are not denials. Willing to believe that unseen forces are working behind the scenes to bring you the life you're ready for. So each morning as you rise, remind yourself, everything is always working out for me. Say it when you don't know what to do. Say it when things feel uncertain. Say it when fear tries to creep in. Because with every repetition, you're realigning, you're softening, you're reconnecting to the flow that has always wanted to carry you. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the things you worried about were never working against you. They were leading you somewhere better. They were guiding you home to yourself. You'll see that trusting the flow didn't mean losing control. It meant finding peace. It meant finally allowing life to love you. And from that place of alignment, everything, truly everything, begins to work out for you. You invite miracles silently, not through force, not through shouting your desires to the sky, but through the quiet alignment of your heart with faith. It happens in the still moments, when you breathe deeply, when you let go of fear, when you whisper to yourself a single, powerful thought. Everything is always working out for me. There is no need for struggle or pleading. The universe does not respond to noise. It responds to energy. And when your energy becomes calm, trusting, open, you become a vessel through which miracles gently flow. You don't need to perform for life to bless you. You don't have to prove you're worthy or hustle until you collapse. Miracles do not arrive as rewards for suffering. They come as natural responses to alignment. When you are in tune with the frequency of peace, you create a magnetic field around you. That field doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't chase, it attracts. And in its silent power, it brings to you the answers, the healing, the opportunities that were already prepared for you, but needed your belief to become visible. The world often teaches us that receiving requires effort, that things worth having must be fought for. But your spirit knows another way, a softer way, a more divine way. When you stop begging and start believing, your entire life begins to shift. That belief doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to convince anyone else. It simply needs to be felt within you. It needs to be repeated, nurtured, trusted. Each time you affirm to yourself, everything is always working out for me. You are building an invisible bridge from where to where you want to be. That bridge is paved with quiet trust. Many people miss their miracles because they're too busy doubting. They're so focused on what hasn't happened that they forget to honor what is already unfolding. But when you quiet the mind and soften your heart, you begin to see the signs. You notice the subtle nudges, the inner guidance, the perfect timing of little things. You begin to realize that miracles often start small. They begin with shifts in perspective, unexpected peace in a moment of fear, a phone call at the right time, A door you didn't even know existed suddenly swinging open. Inviting miracles is not about controlling outcomes. It's about making space. It's about creating an inner environment where miracles feel welcome. Worry closes the door. Fear locks it. But trust opens it wide. You don't need to know how it will happen. You don't need to plan the entire path. Your only job is to keep your energy clean, your thoughts aligned, your heart open. Miracles come to those who are ready to receive, not those who obsess over the details. Think about how the most profound changes in life often arrive quietly. A sunrise breaking through after a long night. A new idea that changes everything. A moment of forgiveness that lightens the soul. These things don't arrive with noise. They arrive with grace. And that same grace is available to you. When you begin to believe in the unseen, when you begin to trust that something beautiful is working on your behalf. Every time you repeat that sacred thought, everything is always working out for me. You're sending a message not just to your subconscious mind, but to the universe itself. You're saying, I am ready. I believe. I trust. And that energy, that pure and quiet faith, acts like a beacon. It draws in the exact experiences that match your vibration. It brings you not just what you want, but what is best for your soul's growth. This kind of belief doesn't mean you never feel fear or doubt. It means you don't stay there. It means you return again and again to the thought that heals. You realign, you breathe. You whisper your truth into the stillness and then move through your day with calm confidence. You let go of desperation and replace it with devotion. Devotion to trust. Devotion to peace. Devotion to the knowing that life is always conspiring in your favor. You invite miracles not by being louder, but by becoming quieter within. You don't manifest through chaos. You manifest through clarity. The clearer your mind, the lighter your heart, the more receptive you become. You stop clinging, you start allowing, you let life surprise you, and it will, in the most unexpected, beautiful, and perfectly timed ways. So be still for a moment, take a deep breath, and gently remind yourself, everything is always working out for me. Say it with love. Say it with belief. Say it silently and say it often. Because in that silence, the universe hears you clearly. And in that silence, miracles are already on their way. You let go of control gently, not in one grand gesture, but in small, sacred moments of surrender. It's not about giving up, it's about softening your grip. It's about loosening the tension in your chest, unclenching your jaw, and whispering to yourself, I don't need to have all the answers right now. Letting go is not weakness. It's a powerful choice to trust life. It's a decision to believe that something greater than your fear is guiding you, holding you, and unfolding things on your behalf, even if you can't yet see the outcome. Control often masquerades as safety. We convince ourselves that if we plan enough, worry enough, fix everything in advance, then maybe we'll be okay. But that constant effort to manage every detail creates exhaustion, anxiety, and frustration. The truth is, much of life is beyond your control. People change, plans fall apart, timing shifts. And in those moments, the tight hold you've had on how things should be starts to hurt. That's when life gently invites you to release, not to fall apart, but to fall into alignment. When you let go of control, you're not abandoning your dreams or desires. You're simply stepping out of the way. You're trusting that the same energy that turns seeds into trees and tides into waves can also move things into place for you. This is where the quiet magic begins. When you say to yourself, everything is always working out for me, you release the need to control the when, the how, and the who. You move from force to flow. You become available to receive rather than anxious to manipulate. This letting go is a gentle practice. Some days you'll feel brave. Other days you'll slip back into old patterns. That's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing trust over fear, faith over control. With each moment of surrender, your energy softens. You become more present, more peaceful, more open. You stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. And in that lightness, you begin to feel something shift. Control says, I have to make it happen. Trust says, I allow it to unfold. Control is rooted in fear. Fear that things won't work out unless you force them to. But trust is rooted in love. It believes that life is for you, not against you. It understands that delays are not denials, and detours are often divine protection. So you let go, not because you're powerless, but because you're wise enough to know that forcing things doesn't bring peace. This is where healing happens. When you stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. When you pause and say, even though I don't know what's next, I believe something good is coming. That belief becomes your anchor. It calms the anxious voice inside. It allows space for grace, for timing, for the unseen to work on your behalf. Letting go is not the absence of action. It's inspired action. Instead of reacting out of fear, you begin to move from intuition. You take steps that feel right, not rushed. You speak from truth, not pressure. You no longer act to control outcomes, but to honor your inner knowing. That's what makes all the difference. You might notice that the more you let go, the more life begins to surprise you. The call you've been waiting for arrives. The path clears. The opportunity finds you. This isn't coincidence, it's alignment. Life responds to your energy, not your worry. And when you release the grip, life fills your open hands with exactly what's meant for you. Letting go gently is an act of self-love. It's telling yourself, I deserve peace. I deserve rest. I deserve to trust that I'm being supported. You stop chasing love, chasing approval, chasing outcomes, and you start magnetizing them. You shift from needing proof to offering belief. And in that sacred shift, miracles unfold. So take a breath right now. Feel the tension in your body. Notice where you're holding on too tightly. And simply say, I choose to trust. Say it even if you don't fully believe it yet. Say it as a beginning. Say it as a promise to your spirit. Because every time you release the need to control, you make space for something greater to arrive. Something you didn't have to force. Something you didn't see coming. Something better than what you were trying to create on your own. This is the beauty of letting go. Not with panic, but with peace. Not with fear, but with faith. You don't have to carry the whole picture. You don't need all the answers. You just need to believe that the answers will come in the right way, at the right time, with the right grace, and they will. Because everything is always working out for you. You become a safe place for healing when you stop criticizing yourself and start offering compassion instead. Healing cannot blossom in a harsh environment. It cannot thrive where judgment lives. The moment you choose to be gentle with your thoughts, your words, and your energy, you begin to create a sanctuary within, a space where your wounds can breathe and your heart can slowly, quietly mend. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be willing to treat yourself with the same kindness you've so often given to others. Many people carry pain not just from what happened to them, but from how they judged themselves afterward. We blame ourselves for trusting the wrong person, for not knowing better, for not being stronger. And those inner accusations keep the pain alive. But when you say to yourself, everything is always working out for me, you're not denying your pain. You're offering it a pathway to peace. You're reminding your wounded parts that they are not broken, just in need of love. You're becoming your own healer, simply by the way you think and speak to yourself. Healing happens in stillness. It happens in silence. It happens when you're not looking in the mirror for what's wrong, but looking within for what's true. You become a safe place for healing when you stop demanding constant improvement and start embracing the idea that just being is enough. That your worth is not tied to your productivity. That your beauty isn't measured by anyone else's standards. That your value does not disappear because you've been hurt. When you hold yourself in that kind of truth, healing becomes not only possible, it becomes inevitable. The mind is a powerful tool. If it's filled with fear and shame, it becomes a prison. But if it's filled with love and hope, it becomes a garden. And every time you choose a thought like, I am safe, or I am learning to love myself, or everything is always working out for me, you are planting new seeds. You are telling your nervous system, your heart, your soul, you can relax now. You're not in danger anymore. That's what healing really needs. Not a timeline, not pressure, but safety. And you can give that to yourself. You also become a safe place for others when you begin to hold this space for yourself. People can feel when you're grounded. They can sense when your love isn't laced with conditions. But you can't truly offer that kind of presence until you've first given it to yourself. When you stop rejecting parts of who you are, you naturally stop judging others. When you give yourself permission to rest, cry, and grow slowly, you extend that same grace outward. Healing is contagious in that way. The more you soften within, the more your very presence helps others do the same. It doesn't matter how long you've been hurting. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. What matters is that you're here, now, choosing something different. Choosing to become the kind of space where your past doesn't define you, but teaches you. Where your scars are not shameful, but sacred. Where your future doesn't need to be controlled, just trusted. And that trust begins with a simple, gentle thought repeated daily, like a prayer. Everything is always working out for me. Even when things don't go your way, even when the old pain tries to return, even when fear whispers its familiar lies, you now have a tool, you have a truth. And with it, you can bring yourself back to calm. Not because life is perfect, but because you're learning how to respond with love. That's what healing looks like. Not constant joy, but deepening peace. Not perfection, but presence. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to not know the answers. And even in those moments, you are healing. Even when you don't feel it, something within you is shifting. The softening has begun. And every time you speak with kindness to yourself, you move a little closer to wholeness. So keep creating that space. Breathe deeply. Speak gently. Think lovingly. When your mind wanders to fear, bring it back with your chosen thought. Everything is always working out for me. Let that be your medicine. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your light. Because healing isn't about fixing who you are. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the hurt worthy, whole and deeply, deeply loved.